Hello, friends. Pastor Randy here. Welcome to Making It Simple. Great to be with you on this beautiful Tuesday. Hope all of you are doing well as your week is getting kicked off. You know, oftentimes we go through life and we hear about things that are helpful. We hear about all these different things that will solve our problems. We've been talking about watching our ways in comparison to God's way. Because oftentimes our way gets in the way. Proverbs tells us that we are satisfied with what looks good. But God pursues what is good. Oftentimes we get sidetracked by the surface. We really do. And I use this illustration all the time in my preaching and ministry. I used to live by the ocean, and the surface was beautiful in and of itself because it's just a magnificent creation. But it doesn't tell you the whole story. Underneath that water was an entirely different world, an entirely different everything. The fish and the coral and the danger and the beauty, and it's all there. Oftentimes we see things only on the surface, and so all these different ideas that pull us aside are oftentimes merely a ploy to get us to buy something that a lot of times we don't need, or something that we'd be disappointed with because it didn't work. Marketing and schemes and ploys and whatever are just that. They're concepts to get you to believe something. But here's the thing, while we're oftentimes satisfied with what looks good, do we consider whether it is good? And the only way we can determine that is when we look deeper. The packaging on something may look fine, it's pretty and whatever, but it may be on a bottle of poison. Maybe it's something that would bring you great harm. Maybe it's just something that's unhealthy. The packaging looks great. It's colorful and it's lively and it draws you in and makes you want to buy it. But then you turn it over and it's got 100 grams of sugar and 2,000 grams of salt and all these things that aren't good for you. We have to be mindful. What is there? See, a relationship with Christ, which of course, as any of you that have followed me for any length of time know that is the core of what I teach. The relationship with Christ, it's just the opposite. It is everything that we need because He and He alone can show us the right way to go. He can show us the ways that more often than not are our ways, because our ways get in the way. He can show us His way, which, friends, ultimately lead us home. That's the bottom line. As believers, that should be our ultimate goal, is that we want to spend eternity with Christ. We want to be with the one that loved us enough to die for us. He promised us, He said, I go and prepare you a place. Think about that for a minute. Jesus said, He's speaking of Himself individually. Clearly, he's saying, I go to prepare you a place. I want you to take that personal today. And He says, and if I go and prepare you a place, I will return, that where I am, you may be with me. That's a promise. Is that what you want? As a believer, that should be every one of our goals. Jesus assured us through His very simple invitation. He said, follow me. One of the issues that I'm finding more and more as I dig deeper into producing and creating this ministry that I feel that God has given me for the last many years, everybody's wanting people to follow them. It's even a hashtag, right? Follow me. And we all use it because we want more and more people to obviously view what we're doing. But Jesus said, follow me. There was a specific reason for the singularity of that. Because the amount of false things that are out there false teaching, false direction, false interpretations, all these things. Now, again, that sounds critical. And it says, "Oh, Pastor Andy, you know everything." No, 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 I don't. I don't proclaim that, profess that at all. But I think what we've done in the idea of sounding smart, and the idea of being all biblical and theological and doctrinal and all this other stuff, we tend to add a whole lot of stuff there that's not there. And in the process of doing that, it gets very confusing. And a lot of people turn that off because they don't, it's not because they're dumb, and it's not because of any other thing. It's just, it's complicated, and life is complicated enough. Jesus said, "Follow me." How can we find assurance in that? How can we find peace in that? Because Jesus knows where he's going. It's just that simple. In fact, I'd say he's the only one that knows where he's going. And that's why he's saying, if you just trust me and follow me, we'll get there. But what is that based on? What is trust and the willingness to follow? What is that based on? Relationship. We generally do not follow someone we do not trust. We generally do not trust someone we do not know. This is so important, friends. The simplicity of this is so important. We can have all the knowledge in the world. We can have all these great scholars telling us all these great things, and they can scream, and they can write on their whiteboard, and they can do all these other things, and they can tell us all this stuff. But if you don't know Christ, if he is not at the heart of what you know and understand, none of the rest of that stuff matters. None of it. From the ones standing on the big platforms and answering all the questions as if they're, some type of great intellect, or the ones that are doing videos just like this, that are telling you all these things. If you don't know Jesus, none of that matters. None of it. Because none of that's going to save you. Jesus is the only one that saves. The only one. And so he is always there if we will allow him to be. Therefore, he says, "Follow me." So if we're following him, then we know that he's always there. And if we ask him for direction, which many of us do, I do every day. "Lord, give me wisdom. Lord, give me the guidance that I need." Here's the thing. Here's the trick to that. Be quiet long enough to hear the answer. Be quiet long enough to hear the answer. You can be assured that he hears you, friends. You can be assured that he wants to help you. He wants us to watch our ways so that we can compare that to his ways and see which one is not only better, but which one leads us to a better place. We're going to stop right there, and we'll pick back up tomorrow, Lord willing, right here, and Make It as Simple. God bless you, friends.